State Senator Julian Sears, our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. A progressive force on Beacon Hill, now facing the realities of tighter state revenues, how he's taking on the challenges and advocating for his Cape Cod district. It's time to go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Sharman Saketi. It's great to have you with us this morning. As you can see, with us at the table is State Senator Julian Sears, a Democrat. He represents the Cape and the Islands. He first took office back in 2017. He's the Senate's Assistant Majority Whip and advocate for LGBTQ rights and mental health access. He's a graduate of New York University. It's great to see you as always.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good
to be back.
Good.
Thanks for being here. You chair the Joint Committee on Public Health. Last week, state health regulators, they approved adding 32 beds at Cape Cod Hospital, 94 beds over at Mass General. Those beds on the Cape, they're not going to come until 2026. Do you think that'll help now, or will it help then, or
what will it do?
It's
certainly going to make a difference then. But what we've really seen, post-pandemic is a real influx in who is coming into our hospitals, and also that people are, and they're ending up stuck in hospitals. There's a real challenge with discharging patients into skilled nursing facilities, and there's been this whole upheaval. And so, we've seen in Cape Cod Hospital, and which does, provides really good care and is a strong, robust, community hospital. They're over capacity, 33% of the time, year round. It used to be, they'd be gangbusters just in those summer months, right? When we're welcoming so many people to Cape Cod. So they're in the process of building a new tower. This is really going to help, I think, alleviate some of that just additional influx. But also part of this, is not just about expanding beds, but how do you make sure that you're getting access to community health care, the whole initiatives the state has undertaken around community behavioral health centers, really important, right? How do we, for people who need acute care, how do we get them into the emergency department? How do they get that care? And then for people who might not need, to be in the ED, especially for behavioral health or for other sort of ailments, having robust community health and robust behavioral health is part of the solution as well.
I talked to the CEO of Cape Cod Hospital, and he mentioned that the Cape does have an older population. Fewer people are making the trek into Boston. Boston is full. But I do want to ask about how they're adding beds there and the question about the future of Steward Hospital. Their fate remains uncertain. What safeguards do you think are needed to stop the bleeding, for lack of a better term?
So the good news is that we don't have Steward hospitals on the Cape and Islands, and our hospitals are pretty strong. When it comes to Steward, right?
But they could absorb some overflow. You could see.
Potentially. I mean, what could happen potentially, particularly if Steward hospitals were to close? I mean, we're just seeing. I believe one of these hospitals had a closure of just one of the units just over this week, and it's creating real havoc. You talk to the folks at South Shore Hospital, right? Just a real further influx. I think there's a whole host of things we need to do, looking at the role of private equity in healthcare, making sure that, community hospitals receive supports to stay open. Look, I get that everyone wants to come up to Boston to get whatever sort of care, but we need strong community hospitals. So this is a really kind of complicated, area. I think for us on the Cape and the Islands, our biggest challenge in our hospitals and our healthcare is workforce. And that's very much tied to a housing crisis we've had for 20 years. So Cape Cod Hospital used to maybe have a couple dozen, traveler nurses, in the summer. Now those numbers are over 200, annually they're having to rely on just to keep the doors open. So look, a whole host of challenges and concerns with Steward hospitals, a pretty kind of heinous series of business practices that have happened there. Really, I think there's a big, robust conversation that Senator Friedman and Representative Lawn and others are leading on private equity, and we're going to look at that. But from a Cape and Islands perspective, our big challenge in healthcare, our big challenge in everything is workforce, and that's tied to housing. And
there you go. You brought us right to the next thing. If I say, on item 2, if I say one word, tell me the first thing that pops in your head. Housing.
Housing. So this has been a crisis.
Miserable crisis or what?
Oh, worse than miserable. So
worse than miserable.
We have had a housing crisis on the Cape and Islands for over 20 years. But the pandemic put that housing crunch on steroids. So in the 8 years I've been elected, I was elected in 2016, I've been serving for 8 years. Median home prices on Cape Cod have doubled in that time. Median home prices on Martha's Vineyard doubled in that time. On Nantucket, in that same period, 8 years, 137% increase. we are in a situation now where if you are a year-round working Cape Codder, doing whatever you're doing, right?
Right.
Making well into six figures potentially, you cannot afford to own a home or buy or purchase a home on Cape Cod, on the islands, if you don't already have one. In my hometown, Truro,
Yeah.
a household has to make $400,000 a year
$400,000
to afford the median home. I mean, like, I can't afford to buy a home in my district.
And you have a pretty good job.
I have a pretty good job.
Right.
I probably need a boyfriend or a husband to maybe help me get to that
Well,
400,000, figure. But that's ridiculous.
Part of Governor Healey's housing plan is a transfer fee, which is extra money for communities on sales over $1 million, which, as you just pointed out, would happen frequently on the Cape. You support the fee, right? Is that fair to say?
The idea of a transfer fee
How
in
does it help?
Massachusetts originated on Nantucket, and now Provincetown, Truro, Wellfleet, Chatham, all 6 towns of Martha's Vineyard have passed home rules to support this. A transfer fee gives us the revenue we need to subsidize housing, yes, for affordable housing, but we're going to have to subsidize housing for most all year-round working people. Not just below area median income, but 130%, 150%, 200% of area median income is what we talk about on Nantucket. So we both need a revenue source to get this done, and I really applaud the governor and lieutenant governor for listening to Cape Codders and Islanders and proposing this. And then we need a whole suite of other sort of tools and policies.
But real estate agent, and particularly the lobby, they push back. They say the fee set a dangerous precedent.
Well, so the statewide realtors push back, but you talk to realtors on Martha's Vineyard, on Nantucket, on Cape Cod, they don't oppose this. We've had a version of a transfer fee that's funded the land bank on both Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. Certainly has not had adverse consequences, there. This is when you have communities where 38% of all the homes on Cape Cod are seasonal homes. On the islands, it's much higher. On my neck of the woods, much, much higher. These are second and third homes. These are luxury. I mean, these are investment properties, right? Look, they should be paying a little bit to help us solve the crisis. And what we're trying to work on now in the legislature is, all right, how do you design a transfer fee where you have exemptions for first-time home buyers or other sort of provisions, right, that really sort of target this transfer fee? But this is a real common sense proposal. This is something that dozens of other states and localities, especially seasonal communities, have put in place in places like Mountain, Colorado. It works. It has worked so well. We needed this yesterday.
Cape businesses, they need workers. This has been something I feel like we talk about every year recently. Thousands of migrants, they want to work. They want to leave the emergency shelter system. What do you think is going to take to make it happen?
So we've been trying, from a Cape perspective, to make sure that work opportunities that we have, which are plentiful in summer months, are connected into into folks who are new arrivals. But on Cape Cod and the islands, we've been relying on an immigrant workforce, for over 30 years in hospitality and tourism, increasingly in all other sectors. You talk to most employers, what they're focused on is figuring out if they don't already own housing for their employees, they're trying to figure out how do they create housing. Even towns.
Those small businesses.
The town of
that rely.
Edgartown is trying to figure out how do they provide housing for their sewer department so they can keep the sewer running in the summer. We got to change the law,
Let me ask you this really quick. Speaker Mariano and Senate Ways and Means Chair Mike Roderick, they both support rolling back shelter funding. I want to stay on that shelter. Are you with them on that?
Look, this has been, I think in Massachusetts, we really have been, committed to making sure that no children are sleeping on the streets. But this has become an incredibly challenging and expensive problem. I think the approach we're trying to take, where we're, paring back funding, makes sense. I also think we've got to be really honest that this is only the start of what is going to be a tremendous migration that we're going to see in the coming decades, both with continued instability in the global south. We already have climate change is already creating climate refugees. And so what we really need here, right? We need Congress to act. Congress last passed immigration reform in 1986. That's the year I was born. And look, Democrats and Republicans are both to blame in that 38-year lapse.
Would you like to see the funding from, the state? Do you think they're spending the money wisely?
Look, I think broadly they're trying to make the best with a difficult situation. I think there's some real questions we're going to have about making sure that money is spent wisely. Also making sure, from the conversations I've had, I think translation services, making sure that we're actually connecting people into resources and to programs to get them into work. Those work permits really are sort of key. So, look, I think if you look at what the Senate passed related to funding for the EA shelters, there's a whole host of pieces there. We're really trying to make sure there's some accountability on this because, look, it's a big spend. It's costing us a lot of money, and we really owe it to taxpayers to make sure that we're, that we're spending this. The state's spending the money wisely.